You know what else is above and beyond the Call of Duty? Jim, the West Ham fan, 05:59. He was determined to have the first word. And Jim, you've had it. Jim. He says, morning all. Spare a thought during this tough time for Jeff. I know he hates it when West Ham win. And he can't moan about the club.
Do you know I've got a picture in my head? I've got a picture in my head of Jim at 5:55 looking at the clock, wishing the minutes away, and he clearly couldn't wait till 6 o'clock, Jim. The pressure must have got too much for you, pal, but we appreciate the message, that's for sure.
Jim absolutely loved it. Laughed my cap off that while Tom was reading the news. Really brilliant. So all good, mate?
Everything's good. Enjoyed the game last night. I thought, I got to be honest, it was a surprise. That was a surprise for I don't have any doubt myself and a good few others out there. But boy, did they look the part last night. I thought Newcastle. I just thought they were, particularly second half, Jeff. I thought they were really easy to play against. You know, I didn't think they were putting any pressure on the ball. I thought Paquetá, particularly second half, had a lovely game, and it was probably just what the doctor ordered. I tell you who we'll need to get back on. We'll need to get a hold of Ray Winston this morning, who actually called it, didn't he? He said he fancied West Ham to get something last night. That's what he said. He actually said that
did.
to us.
When I looked at that West Ham midfield starter, Paquetá, Soler and Souček, I thought this was going to be a battering.
Not enough legs.
How wrong, but they all did
dominated.
Great, you know?
Dominated.
Soler was terrific.
I thought they
Best
dominated.
I've seen him play.
They absolutely, and they looked lively up front.
Yeah,
they looked really lively up front. Bowen and Somerville looked nippy. Bowen looked, he takes it in really well, Bowen. I love the fact he can get out his feet and have a strike and just hits it good. Yeah, they were good last night, no doubt about it. Clean sheet. I thought, you didn't think so. I thought Newcastle, they could have had a penalty with the challenge on Wilson. But what I did like about it, you know, I didn't think that there was enough in it. I didn't think it looked like a clear-cut error, you know what I mean, by the referee. One of these ones, sometimes they get given, sometimes they don't. But forget that. All in all, West Ham thoroughly deserved it. Enjoyed it, actually.
Yeah, I was, and West Ham were excellent, by the way, and I thought Aaron Wan-Bissaka showed just why, you know,
correct.
Not so very many years ago, he was really, really highly rated. He can still do it, and he did it last night. I thought he was excellent. But Newcastle, I thought, was such a disappointment. When you looked at their squad,
couldn't agree more.
They've got so many talented players there, and it was impossible to explain. Eddie Howe said he was pleased with the first 60 minutes. Well, I'm not sure what he was watching, because I couldn't see why he would be pleased with anything really after the first 10 minutes or so.
No, I know. I'm with you on that one. I would have been really disappointed in the overall performance. As I say, particularly second half, Jeff. I just thought, I'm looking at the game, and I'm looking at particularly where they're playing, home crowd, and I just thought Newcastle was so easy to play against, Jeff. I mean, it's getting the balance. Of course it's getting the balance, because West Ham deserve all the credit, and boy, what a turnaround and level of performance that was. So congratulations to them. But if you get up to Newcastle, I was expecting them to get pressed, you know, not have any time on the ball. But no, fair play to West Ham. They were comfortable. And it really was an excellent 3 points. But from Newcastle's point of view, yeah, it was a worrying performance, I felt, as I say, especially second half for me, Jeff.
I just want to say good morning to Newcastle United press officer Mark Hannon, who listens between 6 and 6:15 every morning, presumably on his way to work. So morning, Mark.
Morning, Mark.
I think it's going to be a tough old day today, I'm afraid, pal.
Yeah.
Stay with us instead. I would stay in bed.
So
roll over, leave the radio
pull the covers
on.
over
it's
me.
It's going to be a difficult day. So Thomas Souček and Aaron Wan-Bissaka, the goal scorers. How could they not pick Souček up? Did they not notice him at that corner?
I was listening. His movement was brilliant, actually. It was kind of... It didn't look an orthodox movement to get his space. Yeah. He made like 2 or 3 2-yard runs, Jeff, just to kind of drop and get a space. But he does that well at set plays, and he is a real threat at set plays, and he takes it well.
No, I mean, look, it was a thumping header, wasn't it? But Lloyd Kelly, he'll be thinking he should have been a lot closer.
Yes.
And great for Julian Lopetegui, of course, who replaced Evan Moyes in the summer. He's had a difficult start, to say the least, with 3 wins from the Hammers' first 11 games. But there was one man in particular who impressed our commentary team.
Standout player for them was Jarrod Bowen. Obviously, I just think he was a threat. He was unlucky with a couple of chances. Great shot at the end of the first half that nearly another couple of inches would have been over the top of Pope into the top corner. He caused problems, and he was a real threat, and he was a consistent threat throughout the whole game. So on that basis, and because they've won, I've got to give it to him.
And I had a little bit of a rant at half-time about Jarrod Bowen still being at West Ham. He's too good for West Ham. I know West Ham fans won't like me saying that. That's the reality. He's too good to be in the bottom half of the table. I think he should be in a side that's, if not challenging for major honours every year, it's at least playing European football regularly. I think he's brilliant.
He's on the fringes of the England side, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's not going to. Don't expect him to start for England all the time, but he's always going to be in and around the squad. And you're right. He's a quality player. He's a threat. He's got a goal in him as well. Therefore, if West Ham, don't pull their finger out and get some results and get further up the table this season, then there's every chance, unless Danny Dyer has a word with him, that he might be off. I think I'd be staying if Danny Dyer had a word with me.
Excuse me.
Well, it's an interesting thought, isn't it? Too good for West Ham. Now, West Ham fan, that was not me saying that. Okay? It wasn't me. That was Adrian saying
wasn't me either.
That.
Right, okay,
and, and he was excellent, and he is excellent, but he's clearly extremely happy where he is.
Of course he is, and that's half the battle.
Yeah.
That's half the battle.
I think he could play.
Of course he could.
For other sides who are higher up the table at the moment.
There is absolutely no doubt about it. The first thing I would qualify by saying, I don't think he's too good to play for West Ham. He's an excellent player. You think of West Ham have some fantastic players.
Yes, they do.
Over the years, and still got
still
some
do.
Now. Of course they do. So he's not too good to play for them. But could he play at Champions League level? Yes. I think that's the point that he's trying to make, yeah, and I agree with him there. He definitely could play at Champions League level. But never, ever, ever underestimate the importance of being in a comfortable zone and area and position in your life. He's obviously really, really happy there. He's content with his surroundings at the club and away from the club. And that's such a massive factor. It really is. And somebody's going to work with a smile on their face and happy, and that's such a big thing. Never underestimate that, Jeff. So in answer to what Aid's point there, I don't think he's too good to play for West Ham. I genuinely don't, because I think. But that said, he could play at any level. West Ham a good team with some great players.
Yeah. And he is their talisman now, and that was indicated, by the way, by the fact that before the game last night, Sky Sports spoke to him. After the game, Sky Sports spoke to him. He is, people think of West Ham, one of the first names, possibly the first name they think of actually these days, is Jarrod Bowen.
I would suggest that is.
Yeah. And he certainly didn't disappoint last night, that's for sure. Now, a win would have moved Newcastle to just a point off the top 4. But after that defeat, Eddie Howe reacted to how his side had reacted to the goals.
I think for the first 60 minutes, I'd possibly agree. I thought we were okay. I thought we had some really good chances. General play was good. Last half an hour I didn't like at all. There's reasons for that. I think we suffered a couple of injuries and we looked a bit loose in everything we did. We had players playing out of position in the last part of the game. But we have to take our chances, and also we have to defend those 2 situations better, especially the first goal.
And my only quibble would that be when he said they were okay for 60 minutes. And I think that's a fair assessment.
I think that's fair. I think that's very fair.
But in the second half, when they needed goals, they didn't manage a single shot on target. And with a side that's laden with, goal scorers and ball players, it's almost inexplicable.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't believe it to that extent either, Jeff. But I've got to say, when you listen to Eddie there, he's, we can talk about the level of performance, which wasn't good enough. But he's very measured, and what he says is correct. I thought the last half hour in particular, they were really poor. And I keep saying it's balanced, because West Ham fans would come on and say, look, we were brilliant, they couldn't get near us. I think there was an element of both, to tell you the truth. But I think Eddie was fit, absolutely right. But Newcastle, particularly at home, need to be much better than okay, Jeff.
Yeah, completely.
They've got to be much better than okay. And then what they can't afford to be, after being okay, if it's for a first half, which Eddie thought for an hour, What they can't be after being okay is not very good. I mean, that can't happen. But that said, his assessment of it, I think, is probably spot on.
Pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Let's hear quickly from Sam, the West Ham fan, calling the sports bar last night to talk about Julian Lopetegui.
It really should have been 4-5 at half-time, Newcastle. I think this is massively paper around with the cracks, to be honest with you.
4 or 5? I'm not convinced it was 4 or 5 at half-time, Sam.
Well, you know what I mean, Jay, but I mean, they had some massive chances. I just think it was... I personally think it was...
so you're not happy, Sam?
Did
you just say painting over the cracks?
Yeah, pretty much, mate, because he's massively... Well, they got away with one tonight, mate, to be honest with you.
No, Sam, they didn't get away with one. They deserved the win. There's any doubt about that. Steve, who's a West Ham fan, regular contributor, says, humble pie eater here. In Loppy we trust. He said he's got his own music show now, so he only gets the first half hour. So
don't you just love the West Ham fans?
Yeah, they're brilliant. They're brilliant. So Steve, Steve is one convert. I think there'll be a lot of others as well, and it puts a whole different perspective on the weekend's game coming up when West Ham take on Arsenal.
Yeah, what a game.
West Ham Newcastle fans, love to hear from you. 03717 22 3344 is the number to ring. Give us a call.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.